Hello, everyone, and welcome to this second podcast in Section 2 for Tableau Desktop version 9.0. Let's talk about the things we will learn today. This is an exciting area, geocoding. Many companies like to see anywhere around the world, whether it's a postal code in Italy or a zip code in Nebraska, etc., to see how their business is being conducted on a geocoded basis. So that's what we're going to be diving into. The examples we'll be seeing today are based upon data in your Tableau package workbooks, and we'll be dealing with U.S. states and U.S. zip codes. We'll be talking about filled maps first, and I'll explain that in a moment. That's one map option. And we'll talk about how to isolate, zoom in, zoom out, lasso areas, magnify areas in the United States, or zip codes, which is the lowest level of detail we'll get into. And as is our practice, the information about this lesson is in your hard copy manual on pages 59 to 63. As well, you have the Tableau package workbooks, which complement and go hand in hand with the hard copy manual. Let's get into Tableau. Okay, you can see I have the Section 2 Tableau package workbook. You should have this as well, and I'm going to open it up. Here we go. If you haven't done so already, make sure you have done an extract on this data source, because if you have a slow computer, it will take, extra time to go through the various exercises. So you place your cursor on the data source, right-click, and choose Extract, which we have learned previously. Okay, let's go on, and the first step is creating simply a new worksheet. So would you please click on the new worksheet? Would you right-click on it, please? And let's rename this. Number 4, filled maps. And let's save, and there we go. Put your cursor on state or province, the blue dimension. Hit the pull down, please. And if you look down here and come slowly down, you will see an opportunity that says geographic roles. What are we going to be working with? Well, these are the roles that you can look at. Metropolitan statistical areas, United States, cities, of course, anywhere in the world, if you have data that's coming in from Asia Pacific, EMEA, etc. A county level, a region level, congressional districts, and so on. And down to what we'll be seeing later on, zip code level. For this exercise, we'll be talking about state level information. And let's do the first thing we need to do in the exercise. Would you please simply double-click on state or province? Immediately, Tableau renders a United States map because the data are here that Tableau can automatically see it as a result of the integrated mapping tool that you can see the bottom left from this company. I want to point out, when you use mapping, there are two ways of using it. Simply put, online and offline. How do you change that? Why do you change that? Put the cursor up on map menu, please. Come down just one step and you'll see offline. Why would you use it? Simply put, if you do not have an internet connection, you would choose offline. And as a general comment, the offline functionality has about 75% of the capability of internet. So in today's day and age, most of us have the internet, but just in case, a note for you to remember. Let's go down here and please take the measure called profit. Would you please put it on the color card, target card, like so. Immediately, Tableau renders a gradient for how profits are being achieved in the various states. Pretty interesting information, especially if you take profit and reuse it by taking it and putting it on the label so we can see what's going on in more exact figures. Now, let me pass on this tip, especially if this is going to be geocoding, is something that's going to a dashboard, which is very common. If I want my content consumer, we are the content developers, the consumers are the managers, executives, and so forth that look at this information. I come down to the legend with the crosshairs. I drag it up and put it up right where it hits that black bar, drop. Why do I want to do that? If my boss or bosses and managers are across the country, across the world, want to see what's going on by state, country, zip code, postal code, etc., they can see the bottom line all the way up to the top line here, good profits, bad profits, etc. Rather than looking down at here, this is going to be right with it and tracking with the visual that you put up on the dashboard. Okay, further. What's going on with this? Well, we have lots of things to look at in here, and one is to isolate a state or area. So if I click on this particular option, it comes up kind of like a filter, may I say. And if I want to put in, say, a state, and if I put in GEO, like in Georgia, Georgetown, etc., we'll just do Georgia for the moment. And it takes you down to the state of Georgia, which has good profits, and the surrounding areas. And over here, not so good as you look at Mississippi. And here's the trick to getting back to where we were, because that's one feature in this area. So if you hit the push pin, which is the reset button, you get back to our original state. And while we're here, when I'm talking about dashboards and tips and tricks, as in best practices, let's do this while we're together. And let's round these numbers off for our content consumer. So would you please hit the pull down? Would you come over and choose a format? And over here we have the option for within the pane, and this is the pane, this area. We want to change the number to something more simple. So we go over to a custom number or number custom. Let's not have that clutter of decimals. Let's go down to the clarity of something like kilos or Ks, and you can see, and we'll back out to the formatting. It's simpler, easier to see, and a great benefit to our content consumer. Let's take a look at the other options. They're pretty simple. If I click on this guy, and you can see we're drilling down. We could do it again and again and again for drill down capability, or we could hit the minimize and come back, or I could have hit the reset button. Let me do that again. And so we drill down and back and forth. And let's minimize and go back. Likewise, let's just choose the minimize button itself. And let's get ourselves back to where we were. Okay, now the fun part comes when you click on this particular area and you come over and you see this rectangular, it says zoom area. So what is this all about? I'll show you. I'll click on this and you can see a magnifying glass. So it's another option, and let's do this. Shall we take a look at the area of, let's say, Florida? And you can see Florida illuminated just by hovering over it. And I can drill down and take a look. And by the way, the more granular the information, the better your analysis. So that is one use for this magnifier back here. Like I said, going back down, and you can see drilling down into even a greater level of detail. Let's get back to where we are for the moment and hit our push pin to reset. Let's take a look at another option within, and I'm going to click on this rectangular selection. You can see over here in the Pacific Ocean my cursor, but with a box. So that indeed is what we're going to be able to do, box in certain states or zip codes as a case may be. So let's go over here, and maybe let's take these few states in New England and just grab those, okay? And we can drill down into them further and further and further. I could just simply cut them out. I could isolate these, remove them from the discussion if I wanted to. Click on the ocean back to full view. A couple more options in here, and these are very, very delicate to use, and this is why I'm going to show you about enabling or disabling this function. This is the radial option. So come down here to the ocean. Notice it's round. I'm going to go into a part of the country, and you're going to just pull out from the center in the following way. I'm going to go right in the area of Nebraska or Kansas, and notice as I pull out or go in, out, and in, and maybe if I want to take a look at just a few of those states like that, it's just those states. So let's hit the ocean and get back to the full view. Let's go over to this option called lasso. Let me show you how we use it. I'll pick on the southeast again, and let's say that I wanted to do something a little bit customized. And look at this unique way. And maybe I want to take a few of the states up there. So for whatever reasons, I wanted to grab a hold of some of the states in the southeast and some of the states in the northeast. Maybe that's a region or a new breakout area we wanted to analyze. And let's go back to where we were. As promised, I mentioned going into a lower level of detail in this lesson. We're going to be talking about postal codes or zip codes in the United States. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, for this exercise, would you please take a hold of a profit? And I don't want it on the label, so just drag it off. And so we don't have the numbers there for the moment. I'll show you why. It's quite easy to see, because I want you to go up with me to postal code, drag it to the viewing area, the visual, and drop it, and lo and behold, you can now see the zip codes across the United States. And indeed, you can see we have a wide range of profitability, and you can see why I took the numbers off, because if I put the numbers on there, that is the profit, look at the mess it creates, frankly, there. And that's why I took it off. Hope you understand. Let's hit undo on that. There's other ways to show profitability. I'll give you a quick lesson, because if I wanted to show this as a quick filter, and this is a little tip for the future, if I come down to profit and show quick filter, over here, and this will be covered later on, if I wanted to see just the low profit zip codes, all you do, take a look at that. And it's real time. Interesting, eh? Let's take this and take it off of there for the moment. Anyway, I also would like to do this before we close this lesson. I want to use some of the functions we did before, and I mentioned to you this very powerful interactive tool for the content consumer. If you want to disable it, right-click on the area, like the Pacific Ocean, and say hide it. That way, the only thing that content consumer has is the ability to drill into a state or a zip code. Bring it back, right-click, and say show. And there we are. Okay, folks, that concludes. I'll see you in the next podcast, which will be on symbol maps. Thank you for your attention. Good day.